I'm Stuart Hibbert. I'm CEO at iComplete. Just a little bit about us, just to kick the proceedings off. iComplete is an innovative new online service which is aimed at micro to small businesses, so kind of 1 to 10 employees. Our aim is to bring big business tools to small businesses. So we bring the likes of CRM, calendaring, task management, we've got accountancy and SMS broadcasting coming along over the next couple of months. So examples of what you can do with us is that you can see all of your communication in one place. So voicemails, facsimiles, email, all in one place. You can geographically visualize contacts, have one telephone number that can follow you around, etc. So the iComplete service starts from around £12 a month for the complete service. But cloud computing isn't a new idea. John McCarthy back in 1961 predicted that one day computing would be sold just the same way as utilities. Now, during this, you could actually say during the whole 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, through timeshare, that actually occurred. And it was only with the advent of the personal computer that all kind of died away. So in lots of respects, cloud computing is, as some people are calling it, the 5th generation of computing. But it's actually a culmination of many new technologies. It's not actually doing anything really new itself. So its utility is virtualization, it's software as a service, this is coming along, Web 2.0, etc. If you look at why even do cloud computing, then there was some research that was done recently that suggested there was 11.8 million servers in the United States, of which were only being utilized about 15% of the time. IBM did some research, and their research actually put it that commodity computing was only about 5%. So a lot of people spend a lot of time planning for the peaks, but actually generally just paying for the troughs. So when you're actually looking at building an infrastructure, the operational costs of power, cooling, management and everything else probably generally exceeds the acquisition by 2 to 3 times. So that makes a really good case of actually using cloud computing as a way to move forward. So let's look at some of the challenges and barriers that looking at cloud computing there can be. Now, probably the first one is in terms of security. Many organizations are uncomfortable about the whole philosophy of actually storing their data and applications in the cloud. There's increased risk of unauthorized access to information and exposure thereof. So there's a lot of barriers that people feel that they need to, that people are uncertain about at this particular point in time. Of course, one major area is in terms of the reliability. Most vendors out there only provide this service on an as-is basis. So when major corporations are looking at this, of actually underpinning the whole organization, can they actually build and run the whole organization on a technology where the vendors are only providing it on an as-is basis? If you look at someone like Amazon, they only provide an SLA for their S3 service, which is the storage element. They don't provide an SLA on any other part of their infrastructure. So these are areas that need to be worked on. Performance. If you were a broker, you would lose $4 million a second if your trading system lagged behind your competitors by 5 milliseconds. Amazon will lose 1% of their sales with 100 milliseconds of latency. And Google loses 20% of their search traffic if page generation increases by half a second. So performance is extremely important when it comes to cloud computing. A lot of the time, you don't actually know what's underpinning the technology. You don't know where which part of the data center you're actually processing on at any one particular point in time. So where performance is a major issue, there are some issues there in terms of the current offerings that are out there that need to be dealt with. Manageability. Normally, first of all, comes the pure grunt to the hardware of the actual technology itself. But moving forward, we're going to start to get the manageability aspect of that coming on board. So, for example, in the US now, you can actually scale upwards and downwards with Amazon in terms of their elastic cloud. That's not available in Europe at this particular point in time. But the pure grunt comes first and the manageability will come second. So the moment in Europe, relies on the developers to actually decide how much power they actually need for themselves. Interoperability. Data and applications need to expose standard ways of being able to communicate with other applications. It's from that there's going to be a whole new raft of companies that will come out of the cloud computing environment. Portability. Without portability, it could prove quite costly for companies to be able to move the infrastructure back in-house or be able to move to another provider. So there's new standards that need to come into fruition. And of course, legal. Where is your data actually being held? A number of providers are actually looking at providing European data centers in order to overcome that. But if we look at the Data Protection Act, you've got two main principles in terms of ensuring security and also ensuring adequate when data is moved external to the UK or to the European Union. And of course, licensing models within a cloud environment are very different to the licensing models of which we've become used to today. You're not dealing with single server instances. You're potentially using multiple servers, and there's new licensing sides that need to come into be there. So really, one of the major aspects that what we need today is that we all need standards in which we can actually move the whole cloud computing forward. Without standards, it's going to be another buzzword that takes over in 12 months' time. With standards, then it's got the chance of actually moving forward and becoming the force that the likes of Gartner are expecting to be worth $150 billion by 2013. There's been a number of, we're at the very early stages. Back in August last year, there was the Cloud Computing Bill of Rights, which came on to the Open Cloud Manifesto, and we've now got in terms of the Cloud Computing Manifesto. But not everybody's signed up to these. It's just an idea that we should be moving forward towards this. And it's going to take time before everybody gets onto the same page and agrees that this is the way forward. Cloud services, predominantly at the moment, are as a platform. So you can go out to someone like Rackspace and get a mini server per se, and they're going to charge you $10.95 a month. Or Amazon, the starting point there is 10 cents an hour. So very cheap, affordable processing power capabilities from which you can expand from. On top of that, you have in terms of the storage and content distribution networks, database, and then in terms of a number of additional added services. So, for example, payment processing, CRM, and they reckon over the next few years there's going to be thousands of applications that will actually come into play. So you've got the likes now of Microsoft Azure, which is going to be offering through their mesh services the ability for synchronization and extending applications all through cloud services this evening. Thank you.